Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, translated with commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Adi Leela, Chapter 7. Lord Chaitanya in 5 features. Text 65. Prakasananda Saraswati, however, caught Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally by the hand and seated him with great respect in the midst of the assembly. Purport. The respectful behavior of Prakasananda Saraswati toward Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very much to be appreciated. Such behavior is calculated to be agyata sukriti, or pious activities that one executes without his knowledge. Thus, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very tactfully gave Prakasananda Saraswati an opportunity to advance in agyata sukriti, so that in the future he might actually become a Vaishnava sannyasi. Text 66. Prakasananda Saraswati then said, I understand that your name is Sri Krishna Chaitanya. You are a disciple of Sri Keshava Bharati, and therefore you are glorious. Text 67. You belong to our Sankar Sampradaya and live in our village, Varanasi. Why then do you not associate with us? Why is it that you avoid even seeing us? Purport. A Vaishnava sannyasi, or a Vaishnava in the second stage of advancement in spiritual knowledge, can understand 4 principles, namely, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotees, the innocent, and the jealous, and he behaves differently with each. He tries to increase his love for Godhead, make friendship with devotees, and preach Krishna consciousness among the innocent. But he avoids the jealous, who are envious of the Krishna consciousness movement. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself exemplified such behavior, and this is why Prakasananda Saraswati inquired why he did not associate or even talk with them. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed by example that a preacher of the Krishna consciousness movement generally should not waste his time talking with Mayavadi sannyasis. But when there are arguments on the basis of Shastra, a Vaishnava must come forward to talk and defeat them in philosophy. According to Mayavad sannyasis, only one who takes sannyas in the disciplic succession from Shankaracharya is a Vedic sannyasi. Sometimes it is challenged that the sannyasis who are preaching in the Krishna consciousness movement are not genuine, because they do not belong to Brahmin families. For Mayavadis do not offer sannyas to one who does not belong to a Brahmin family by birth. Unfortunately, however, they do not know that at present everyone is born a Sudra, Kalo Sudra Sambhava. It is to be understood that there are no Brahmins in this age, because those who claim to be Brahmins simply on the basis of birthright do not have the Brahminical qualifications. However, even if one is born in a non-Brahmin family, if he has the Brahminical qualifications, he should be accepted as a Brahmin, as confirmed by Srila Narada Muni and the great saint Sridhar Swami. This is also stated in Srimad Bhagavatam. Both Narada and Sridhar Swami completely agree that one cannot be a Brahmin by birthright, but one must possess the qualities of a Brahmin. Thus, in our Krishna consciousness movement, we never offer the sannyas order to a person whom we do not find to be qualified in terms of the prescribed Brahminical principles. Although it is a fact that unless one is a Brahmin, he cannot become a sannyasi, it is not a valid principle that an unqualified man who is born in a Brahmin family is a Brahmin, whereas a Brahminically qualified person born in a non-Brahmin family cannot be accepted. The Krishna consciousness movement strictly follows the injunctions of Srimad Bhagavatam, avoiding misleading heresy and manufactured conclusions. Text 68. You are a sannyasi. Why then do you indulge in chanting and dancing, engaging in your sankirtana movement in the company of fanatics? Purport. This is a challenge by Prakasananda Saraswati to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhasya that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the object of Vedanta philosophical research, has very kindly determined who is an appropriate candidate for study of Vedanta philosophy. The first qualification of such a candidate is expressed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshastika. Trinadapi, Sunichena, Tarorapi, Sahishnuna, Amanina, Manadena, Kirtaniya, Sada, Hari. This statement indicates that one can hear or speak about Vedanta philosophy through the disciplic succession. One must be very humble and meek, more tolerant than a tree, and more humble than the grass. One should not claim respect for himself, but should be prepared to give all respect to others. One must have these qualifications to be eligible to understand Vedic knowledge. Text 69. Meditation and study of Vedanta are the sole duties of a sannyasi. Why do you abandon these to dance with fanatics? Purport. As explained in regard to verse 41, Mayavadi sannyasis do not approve of chanting and dancing. Prakasananda Saraswati, like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, misunderstood Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be a misled young sannyasi, and therefore he asked him why he indulged in the association of fanatics instead of executing the duty of a sannyasi. Text 70. You look as brilliant as if you were Narayan himself. Will you kindly explain the reason that you have adopted the behavior of lower-class people? Purport. Due to renunciation, Vedanta study, meditation, and the strict regulative principles of their daily routine, Mayavad sannyasis are certainly in a position to execute pious activities. Thus, Prakasananda Saraswati, on account of his piety, could understand that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not an ordinary person, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sakshat Narayana. He considered him to be Narayan himself. Mayavadi sannyasis address each other as Narayan because they think they are all going to be Narayan or merge with Narayan in the next life. Prakasananda Saraswati appreciated that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had already directly become Narayan and did not need to wait until his next life. One difference between the Vaishnava and Mayavad philosophies is that Mayavad philosophers think that after giving up their bodies, they are going to become Narayan by merging with his body, whereas Vaishnava philosophers understand that after the body dies, they are going to have a transcendental spiritual body in which to associate with Narayan. Text 71. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied to Prakasananda Saraswati, My dear sir, kindly hear the reason. my spiritual master considered me a fool, and therefore he chastised me. Purport. When Prakasananda Saraswati inquired from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu why he neither studied Vedanta nor performed meditation, Lord Chaitanya presented himself as a number one fool, in order to indicate that the present age, Kali Yuga, is an age of fools and rascals, in which it is not possible to obtain perfection simply by reading Vedanta philosophy and meditating. The Shastras strongly recommend Harinama, Harinama, Harinama Iva Kevalam, Kalonasteva, Asteva Nasteva, Gathir Anyata. Translation. In this age of quarrel and hypocrisy, the only means of deliverance is chanting of the holy names of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. End translation. People in general in Kali Yuga are so fallen that it is not possible for them to obtain perfection simply by studying Vedanta Sutra. One should therefore seriously take to the constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Text 72. You are a fool, he said. You're not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy, and therefore you must always chant the holy name of Krishna. This is the essence of all mantras or Vedic hymns. Purport. Sri Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj comments in this connection. Quote, one can become perfectly successful in the mission of his life if he acts exactly according to the words he hears from the mouth of his spiritual master. End quote. This acceptance of the words of the spiritual master is called Shrotavakya, which indicates that the disciple must carry out the spiritual master's instructions without deviation. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur remarks in this connection that a disciple must accept the words of his spiritual master as his life and soul. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu here confirms this by saying that since his spiritual master ordered him only to chant the holy name of Krishna, he always chanted the Hare Krishna Mahamantra according to this direction. Krishna mantra japa sada e mantra sara. Krishna is the origin of everything. Therefore, when a person is fully Krishna conscious, it is to be understood that his relationship with Krishna has been fully confirmed. Lacking Krishna consciousness, one is only partially related with Krishna and is therefore not in his constitutional position. Although Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna, the spiritual master of the entire universe, he nevertheless took the position of a disciple in order to teach by example how a devotee should strictly follow the orders of a spiritual master in executing the duty of always chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. One who is very much attracted to the study of Vedanta philosophy must take lessons from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this age, no one is actually competent to study Vedanta, and therefore it is better that one chant the holy name of the Lord, which is the essence of all Vedic knowledge, as Krishna himself confirms in Bhagavad Gita. Vedes cha sarvair aham eva vedyo, Vedantakrid Vedavid eva chaham. Translation. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. End translation. Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Only fools give up the service of the spiritual master and think themselves advanced in spiritual knowledge. In order to check such fools, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself presented the perfect example of how to be a disciple. A spiritual master knows very well how to engage each disciple in a particular duty. But if a disciple, thinking himself more advanced than his spiritual master, gives up his orders and acts independently, he checks his own spiritual progress. Every disciple must consider himself completely unaware of the science of Krishna and must always be ready to carry out the orders of the spiritual master to become competent in Krishna consciousness. A disciple should always remain a fool before his spiritual master. Therefore, sometimes pseudo-spiritualists accept a spiritual master who is not even fit to become a disciple because they want to keep him under their control. This is useless for spiritual realization. One who imperfectly knows Krishna consciousness cannot know Vedanta philosophy. A showy display of Vedanta study without Krishna consciousness is a feature of the external energy, Maya, and as long as one is attracted by the inebrities of this ever-changing material energy, he deviates from devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. An actual follower of Vedanta philosophy is a devotee of Lord Vishnu, who is the greatest of the great and maintainer of the entire universe. Unless one surpasses the field of activities in service to the limited, one cannot reach the unlimited. Knowledge of the unlimited is actual Brahmagyan, or knowledge of the Supreme. Those who are addicted to fruitive activities and speculative knowledge cannot understand the value of the holy name of the Lord, Krishna, who is always completely pure, eternally liberated, and full of spiritual bliss. One who has taken shelter of the holy name of the Lord, which is identical with the Lord, does not have to study Vedanta philosophy, for he has already completed all such study. One who is unfit to chant the holy name of Krishna, but thinks that the holy name is different from Krishna, and thus takes shelter of Vedanta study in order to understand him, must be considered a number one fool, as confirmed by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu by his personal behavior. And philosophical speculators who want to make Vedanta philosophy an academic career are also considered to be within the material energy. A person who always chants the holy name of the Lord, however, is already beyond the ocean of nescience, and thus even a person born in a low family who engages in chanting the holy name of the Lord is considered to be beyond the study of Vedanta philosophy. In this connection, the Srimad Bhagavatam states, Sanskrit verse, translation: If a person born in a family of dog-eaters takes to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna, it is to be understood that in his previous life he must have executed all kinds of austerities and penances, and performed all the Vedic yagnas. Bhagavatam 3:33-7. Another quotation states, Sanskrit verse, translation: A person who chants the 2 syllables Ha-ri has already studied the 4 Vedas, Sama, Rig, Yajur, and Atharva. End translation. Taking advantage of these verses, there are some sahajiyas who, taking everything very cheaply, consider themselves elevated Vaishnavas, but do not care even to touch the Vedanta Sutras or Vedanta philosophy. A real Vaishnava should, however, study Vedanta philosophy, but if after studying Vedanta one does not adopt the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, he is no better than a Mayavadi. Therefore, one should not be a Mayavadi, yet one should not be unaware of the subject matter of Vedanta philosophy. Indeed, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his knowledge of Vedanta in his discourses with Prakasananda Saraswati. Thus it is understood that a Vaishnava should be completely conversant with Vedanta philosophy. Yet he should not think that studying Vedanta is all in all, and therefore be unattached to the chanting of the holy name. A devotee must know the importance of simultaneously understanding Vedanta philosophy and chanting the holy names. If by studying Vedanta one becomes an impersonalist, he has not been able to understand Vedanta. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 15:15. Vedanta means the end of knowledge. The ultimate end of knowledge is knowledge of Krishna, who is identical with his holy name. Cheap Vaishnavas, Sahajiyas, do not care to study the Vedanta philosophy as commented upon by the four Acharyas. In the Gaudiya Sampradaya there is a Vedanta commentary called the Govindabhasya, but the Sahajiyas consider such commentaries to be untouchable philosophical speculation, and they consider the Acharyas to be mixed devotees. Thus, they clear their way to hell.